Hey everyone, Pastor Curtis here with another quick question video. Today I wanted to talk to you about what to do when you can't do anything. And you'll see exactly what I mean by that in a minute. But for now, I want to turn your attention to the Bible and a story that I think will help us learn what I mean. In Exodus chapter 14, the Israelites are just fleeing from Pharaoh. And so in verses 1 through 4, God tells Moses to camp by the Red Sea because God was going to harden Pharaoh's heart and he would pursue them. And to Moses, that was just fine because he trusted in God. But look at the Israelites' response once they found out Pharaoh was coming after them. Verse 11 says this. They said to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt?" Verse 12. "Didn't we say to you in Egypt, 'Leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians'? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert." But look at verse 13. Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again." See, the Israelites couldn't do anything to save themselves. God made sure that there wasn't going to be enough time for them to make up a plan. They couldn't run away and hide. They couldn't make boats fast enough. They couldn't just surrender and go back to the Egyptians because they knew the Egyptians would kill them. So they had no choice. They were stuck, camped by the sea as they watched Pharaoh's army coming after them. They couldn't do anything. All they could do was wait for God. And really, this story isn't such a good one at first for the Israelites because they complained to Moses, and really then they complained to God. They didn't trust God's plans for them. They didn't have faith that what God was going to do would be better than what they could have done. So they turned to fear, panic, anxiety, complaining, and anger towards God and Moses. But look at what verses 29 through 31 say. "But the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and on their left. That day the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. And when the Israelites saw the mighty hand of the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him and in Moses, his servant." See, God went above and beyond their expectations of what could have happened. He not only saved them from the immediate threat, but he destroyed Pharaoh's army right in front of their eyes and eliminated their threat altogether. God showed them that trusting in him and his plan is always the best choice. They had a moment of fear because of their enemies, and God crushed their enemies so that they would never again have to fear the Egyptians coming after them. They wouldn't have to fear that their children or grandchildren would be brought back into slavery again. God's plan was shown to them, and they responded by putting their fear and their trust in God rather than their own plans. They responded out of faith. See, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I can't do anything about this virus. And it's not only with this virus, but in my everyday life. I start to feel trapped by my situations, trapped by my sin, trapped by not believing in God's promises. And so I feel trapped in fear. But we need to let the Israelites be an example to us. God is always working, even when we can't see. And God is always doing something far better than we can imagine. And I would guess that some of you have experienced this before. Some of you have gone through that, where you felt like the situation you were in was hopeless, and you were so afraid or angry with what was happening. But then God turned it out better than you could ever imagine or have hoped for. I'm sure some of you have been through those situations, and those are really powerful moments. So, what are you and I supposed to do when we can't do anything? We're supposed to trust God for His promises, trust that His plans are better than our plans, and rather than complain and whine and fear, just trust and obey, knowing that God is in control and His plans for our situations are far better than anything that we can imagine, because He loves us and because He's the God who has our best plans in His mind for our best life on this earth. God bless you, and I hope this video helps you today.